between, and we can all find something we like.
And everybody.
Well, you got a big table you can find too.
Well, there's that too.
All right, it's 1:02, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make the motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment? Public comment, no old business because there's not been a meeting prior to this, so we'll move on to new business 5.1, discussion and appointment of a group leader.
Adam.
Well, who's not here? That'll teach
So I was gonna
We'll have Adam.
say, the accessible transportation committee is Mr. Hart, Mr. Monroe, Mr. Copeland, and then Mr. Rasmussen as the only department head signed up.
I did the last meeting. I'm chairman of group leader also. I second it.
Are you okay with?
I'll try my hand at that, sure.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Copeland and a second by Mr. Rasmussen to appoint Mr. Monroe the group chair starting with the next meeting. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I passed out the sheets. I think the point of today's meeting is going to be, it's going to be a real quick meeting. But just to kind of get the ball rolling, get coordination set up, scheduling set up, that sort of thing. The last meeting, which was just an hour ago, we discussed kind of the key strategies, maybe connections or knowledge about those things that the committee members had in those topics. And just discuss I'm not on this committee and I don't want to try to lead it one way or another, but some conversations that took place are, do you want to prioritize? Is there certain things that you as a committee want to look at and then put it on the agenda that way for your next meeting? But just kind of discussing the topics and things of this meeting.
Oh, that Dale here, he's got all this covered just about. So.
Some of it.
I will say a lot of these strategies are sitting in the support kind of category. So I don't know if that changes how we want to approach it, where our first contact should be.
And just to kind of give you a heads up, the third one where it says explore policies for UTV use of country roads and trails, which I was going to talk to you about after the meeting. This is something that has come up a couple of different times. I know that it circled around again a few months ago. And I'm not certain, but there could be something coming forward in planning and development in the next month or so. But, department heads, obviously, that would be involved in that are Sheriff's Department, zoning, and Dale.
Yeah.
So there's been some conversations with that
Doesn't work until they change the statute.
That's, yeah. Yeah, support advocacy. That's all down the road with the state giving funding for the train services and the federal government and bus service. I don't know if we have that. We don't have that anymore. So yeah, well, I agree. What point? 1, 3, and 4. Those are all things that when there's something for us to handle. I think we could jump at handling it, but we can't take the lead on that because it's not our stuff. So I'm looking at 2 and 5.
Which is
Yeah.
So one Dale's got to handle that.
Yeah, right.
Fort Sen handles the Pretzel City bus service, I think.
I
He stepped down.
I heard that Mr. Countryman was back in charge.
Oh, really?
I heard that at the weekend. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't called. I know that, the city still does it in partnership with the senior center, or it's housed at the senior center, but the city controls it. Hello, Jim. Hand you that.
Once.
No, it started.
Is that you?
Yeah, it's lunch going through.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked. It's Taco Tuesday, I just assumed.
We are all the way on basically 5.2 and 5.3. But 5.2, right?
Maybe somebody.
Are we Zooming with someone?
We are on the owl because we have to post to YouTube because I left that on the agenda. Forgot to take it off.
Oh,
So,
it's posted
so
on
it's
there.
posted that way. So
Okay.
we are live on owl.
Dale, how much work would it be to get a quick report on equipment and all that, and like what the estimated lifespan would be? That might be a good first step.
I'd have to, we've got that. I would have to maybe look at it, might maybe update a little bit, but it'll take me an hour.
Okay. Is that something you could have ready for next time we all meet?
Sure.
Which, the other thing, which I know they're kind of skipping all the way down to 5.4. Each group is kind of depending on how often you want to meet themselves, because like your group, like you said, it seems a lot more support. Things that are actually going on, and determining the location for your group. It may make more sense if Dale is willing, since he's on the committee, to hold it in the conference room of the highway department if it's easier. But, I was just trying to get the ball.
Much
rolling.
easier for me.
I mean, that way we're not
Yeah.
calling Dale all the way across town.
Sure.
But, like I said, I just want to get the ball rolling on the groups, get group leaders assigned or appointed in each group, and go from there.
For we and my group leader on the communities and the safety, we're meeting every quarter.
Okay.
So, yeah, you wanna jump around? How do we feel? My first thought was every other month, but yeah, we think every.
We should take that back. We have a meeting Monday.
Oh.
And then probably going further. Because
Okay.
You want meetings during the day, in the evening?
What's good with your schedule, Ed? Yeah. What's good with your schedule for meetings?
I'll try to fit it in.
If we want to have an evening, we could do it in conjunction with the Public Works Committee meeting, either before or after, because three of us are on the Public Works.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's,
Meet the committee week on Thursday at 5.
the only other meeting on that Thursday is nursing home at 6:30, so it
Exactly.
would make more sense to meet prior to, if
Yeah.
anyone wants to attend.
if that sounds like it would work for you, Jim,
You
like I
know,
said, three of us I don't think it'd be
I
there.
signed up for 5 of these. So
You can end up a group leader in one of them.
So I honestly don't know, but I was gonna say I can't. I didn't wanna even be in contention for, this is the accessible transportation or the parks and facilities. I don't want to have to be tied down to either one of those. The
Oh,
other,
you almost got voted in as leader
well,
because you weren't here.
I'm glad that didn't happen. I was gonna put Casey up for that. Does she miss this one or the next one?
The next one, I think.
The next one, okay. Yeah, so I'm being honest with you.
No,
I'm
good.
trying to, I don't know how many you guys are signed up for. Dale, you probably signed up for this and Is this it or?
I think this is it. for me.
Well, that's enough for you. In a good way, in a good way. The,
Where's expertise are,
Kurt,
makes sense.
you're on something else too,
I'm
right?
on communication. Communication and, community safety.
Okay, I'm not on either of those. Adam, what do you
On
want?
3 others besides this.
So you're on 4.
Yeah.
I'm on 5, yeah. So I'm kind of waiting to see.
No.
So I will, are we missing anyone here?
No,
Okay, well, I will defer to you guys then.
Well, then, I guess, do we, for now, I think that would make sense to meet before, Public Works. Do we want to say 4 o'clock? Give it, again, I don't know that we'll ever need, or at least right now, need more than an hour, certainly, but does that tentatively work?
Works for me.
How often do you want to meet?
Well, that's my next question. 2 parts. Do we want to meet before the next one next week? Just to kind of check in, or do we want to push it to next month's and then meet? But again, my first gut was every other month, but if you're meeting by the quarter and a lot of our stuff is kind of fluid, I don't know.
or maybe
And if we need to push it, if we're allowed that flexibility,
each group has got the flexibility within their own too. I
Okay.
mean, the strategic plan is good through 2027, I think. So,
yeah.
I mean, you don't want to lose track of things. And
Right.
we want to make sure moving into budget season, that if there's things that need to be budgeted for during 2025, that those conversations
Yeah.
are happening. Because, budget policy was approved last month and
Right.
preliminaries will be, August, so.
I vote to push it for next month, because I won't be at next week's meeting, so.
Oh, sure, okay.
That's fine.
So
Makes
August.
sense. Okay,
And that August meeting is,
let's see. I believe the 8th.
state that we're at, and we want to hold it at the highway department then, since you guys.
Yeah, I think, again, at least 3 of us will already be there, so
So it's 8
At
at the highway department
let's,
at 4.
4 o'clock. Again, that might be more time than we need. I certainly hope it is, but that way we have some flexibility.
I think we should allot an hour
Yeah,
at a minimum. I don't think we should, otherwise we're just trying to rush through to get to the next meeting or do the next thing. And my experience is with meetings that's completely utterly unproductive. I'm not saying it should go longer,
no,
but what time do you guys have your meeting? 5? Okay. Well, that's up to you guys, I'm just tagging along on this. What are we doing on, I missed the rest of 5.1 then, agenda, minutes,
So there was a motion and a second with approval to appoint Mr. Monroe as the group leader.
okay, and then who's preparing agenda and minutes?
That's part of the
That-
group
that-
leader's
that'd be part of-
responsibility.
part of my gig
Okay.
for next meeting.
Yeah, so I will send you, we'll take care of the minutes.
Yeah.
Stuff for this meeting, and then I'll send you the templates to plug the information in.
Sounds good.
And then just make sure you get those to me. We have to post 48 hours in advance, so.
We'll talk
I
training.
was gonna say, we've got time and we can talk between that.
Right. All right, so, do we need to vote on, to make that official next meeting? I know we're kind of jumping around, but,
So, yeah. Do I have a motion to
yeah,
schedule the
so
next meeting?
move to establish next meeting, August 8th, 4 o'clock at the Highway Department.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good deal.
And then we will decide from there what our frequency of meeting is.
Yeah, I think, again, we'll see kind of how this all feels, but right now, suggestion, maybe we'll start every other month, and if we feel like we need
Right.
less, then we'll, but I like keeping it in conjunction with the highway department, I like I think, again, we don't have to reinvent anything here. Let's just add something on. Yeah. Do we want to go back to 5.2? We talked a little bit. Does anyone have any, brainstorms on the Pretzel City route and everything?
Yeah, talk to Kevin and see, or Forrest, and see what they're doing and how we could expand. I guess
Talk to who?
Kevin Countryman or Forrest Sen, they're in charge of Pretzel City Transit.
Kevin Countryman and who else?
Forrest Sen, we're not sure which one's in charge.
Forrest?
Yeah. That's CNN.
Yeah, if, you want to make contact, see what they could use, what their plans are. Because frankly, that's one thing I think would be a top priority, partly because we've already got busing established, but also because that's something that we can immediately take effect with. It's not building a new road or planning a new mode of transportation. It's just regulating where existing transport will go. So I think that might be an easy target for
That's the
the
first.
committee to start with and, you know, get at least some success out of the gate.
What's our county involvement with Pretzel City? Now,
I have no idea.
do we,
Can we do anything?
I don't think we do anything directly, do we?
I don't think there's any, I think that's their financial
Yeah.
issue and their control issue. I'm asking because we're assuming that we can do anything with it or that will be
Yeah.
received well, or we don't know how we'll be received or what we can.
Well, that's why I want
So I don't want to
to reach
assume.
out and ask
Absolutely,
what their plans are. How can we help?
right.
And because even if it's something as simple as coordinating, like, oh, we think countywide, these would be some good stops outside of the city or this or that.
And sorry,
No,
I was just gonna say, I know that at one point they did county stops. I have no idea if they still do or not. I don't know.
Do you know if we contributed financially to that in any
I
way?
think it's
or-
controlled by the city.
Yeah.
that's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I think in terms of us asking them to go outside the city, I suspect we'll run into some
Yeah.
just questions. I'm not
Yeah.
being negative. I'm
No, no.
saying this is not.
Well, and there again, that
And they may.
might be something that then falls to us to look for. Hey, we can find this grant or whatever, and we will
Yeah,
balance out because I think
and they may have, with a little bit of support, they may have enough
right.
questions or interest already just setting up.
Right, sure.
An
So-
extra driver or, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't wanna speak for them.
part of why this I think would be a good priority for us outside of the using what's already there is one of the biggest topics that comes up when we talk about accessible transportation is getting access to the hospital.
Yeah.
FHN is I sat in on a rail meeting, a transport meeting, like second month I was on the board, and they had representatives from the hospital that are saying their biggest issue is getting patients to
Sure.
their appointments.
Right.
And so, and that's, again, that covers outside of the city proper too. Part of the problem is folks that live in the rural districts just finding reliable transport for these random appointments.
So when I go in intergovernmental agreement with the county and we work something out,
Yeah.
kind of program or something.
Yeah, at this point, I think all options are on the table. I'd like to see what, again, a lot of this committee is about support and facilitating what's already there. But I'd be curious who wants to nibble at any of these lines we put in the water.
And, private free partnership may have resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too, if we went with them with an idea or proposal.
When I had my hip surgery and I couldn't drive, I used Pretzel City to take me to my
Did you?
appointment. So that worked out pretty good for me
Where did they pick you up at?
at my apartment.
Oh, so they came to your
Yeah,
house
came to the
and picked
apartment.
you up?
Yep, and took me to the appointment and then I called when it's done and
What was
What-
uh,
Back.
Are you in the city?
yeah. I was
Okay. Okay.
what was
And
the,
also for, had to go to the pharmacy. They took me there. And
Excellent.
How long ago was that? Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
I was after I remember when.
Do you remember what the kind of window? I know sometimes they give a window like be here for these 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, you tell them what time and then just watch for them to show up. So.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got some students that have used it to try to get to classes, but because of that window, sometimes they say, I'm gonna be there, but I might be 10, 20 minutes
Mhm.
late.
Oh, the bus says that.
Yeah. Well, the student has to tell me because they don't know
Right.
when in that window the bus will get
Oh,
there.
I see. How long of a window is it? Do you know? Is it-
Currently, I think it depends on how many drivers they have on the
Right.
day,
Mhm.
yada yada.
Right.
But I do know they've been working on it. I do know it's
Right.
a constant comment about the system.
Right.
And I know that Joe Davies County in particular
Mhm.
has a really solid transport system that does go into some of the rural areas that Pretzel City has at least at times
Right.
tried to emulate. But they've got, I forget how many buses, and they've got 2 dispatchers. I mean, they've got a well-established system.
Why do I see Carroll County?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see, I see their buses around too,
Carroll's,
yeah.
so Carroll does a lot specifically to the hospital.
But I see it in our neighborhood.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I thought, why is Carroll County coming into our neighborhood?
Well,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
yeah, well, there again, it might be a
Well, maybe if
what
they're
they're
here,
used to.
I mean, regardless of why they're here, maybe that's something we can talk to them as well.
Or
If
maybe,
they're
yeah, I was gonna
servicing
say
this
maybe,
area.
Yeah.
and if Pretzel City is uninterested in the unincorporated areas,
Which-
maybe it's a partnership with another county.
Right.
I didn't even know
Why
Carroll
not?
County had.
Yeah, I'd be very willing to talk about, yeah.
I see their little white bus
Oh, yeah.
all the time. I always
Quite often.
wonder,
Yeah.
why are they here?
I see Carol and Joe Davies coming to the library for different programs and whatnot,
Right,
because they want to use the library too.
right.
And again,
Interesting.
there's nothing wrong with that, but
Well, maybe if
That's
they want to use our library, we want to use their buses. One other suggestion, it sounds like you have a relationship with these people.
Yes.
Might we be able to, if the chairman thinks that's a good idea, maybe Kurt could approach him because he
Yeah.
knows them?
yeah, I think that's
If you were okay with that.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna see exactly
God knows,
How
they
they
don't want me to approach him, so.
how they operate. I mean, even if we get with FHN and talk with somebody there if they
I
wanted
know
to.
it. I was gonna say, just in conversation, Greater People Partnership, we talked about how like the hospital, the college.
Yep.
Some of these bigger government partners, like that, it seems to be a common issue.
Yeah, well, and that's a good window for us. Like, we may not have a lot of say directly in transport, but a lot of the other agencies that we work with, they're relying on that, so we want to
Pull everybody's money together and then. we
Yeah,
can start
right.
And
thing.
maybe it's, like you said, it's a IGA,
Yeah.
more than one entity,
Right.
you know?
Okay, interesting.
Budget.
I think that's a good start.
But I think, yeah, again, I don't want to overload us in the beginning, but
Mhm.
looking at our 5 points, I think that's the right one to target
Mhm.
first.
Well, I can address the first 3 at the next meeting. Something.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
of that.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I was gonna ask, thank you for bringing that up,
A
because
lot of this is Dale.
I don't have any of that. You guys, Kurt, are you on
Yeah, I'm on,
with them?
yes.
So you guys already, I'm behind the curve on this, obviously.
Dale's got a pretty good grasp of most of this
It's,
stuff.
I know
everything's
he's-
usually online too. He's got all these graphs and everything too.
Well, that's where I get lost online. Hard copies are, you guys don't understand this, but I'm a boomer. Okay, so those are the first 3 things, and you have those, the comprehensive road plan. In fact, I know I just saw that today in something else I had here.
Yeah, the road plan, and again, speaking from the public works, it's all we do is look at the pretty colors and go, wow, you're doing great.
Yeah. Dale says, we're working on this, working on that.
Great.
We set that up when I first came here with 8 years ago, and we have followed it.
Yeah.
Nobody has said,
I was gonna say, when I became administrator, it had only been around about a year and a half or so. And everybody was just like, this is the first time we've had like a plan, and it's,
Yeah.
It's
you
so,
follow, you budget accordingly, you move forward. you keep
it's
your
so
goals.
impressive, especially compared to some of the other departments. And I think, Dale, you'd probably attest to this. It might be a pain in the butt to set up, but then once it's there, just the maintenance of it is easy as pie.
Paul Rampethal was my assistant at the time. He's retired now, but he had all the history of that. So you needed that history to talk about the
Is that
different.
part of what you're talking about?
Uh,
Just this.
This is just over 3 years. So what I've got is a 10-year plan.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. What year are we in of your 10-year plan?
let me see, we started in 2017. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Whatever that
7,
is.
yeah.
Okay.
8, we're in our 8th year.
This isn't a math test.
Got 2 more years and we'll have gone up through all of our road programs.
Okay.
Then we'll cycle back through and see where we're at.
Yeah, if I could get a copy of that stuff, it would help me at least,
It is on the website, but I'll have it at the next meeting.
Okay. But it's on the website.
Mhm. Highway Department, Road Preservation Program.
Okay. And that would also apply to the equipment condition.
The equipment is not on there now,
Okay.
but I'll have that at the next meeting.
Yeah, we're looking to have that established.
Mhm.
Any other comments on strategies? I do want to spend a little bit of time on the progress measures, just to check all our boxes. But before we move on, any other thoughts?
UTV, did you guys talk about that at all?
Yeah, a lot of that is, there's not a whole lot we can do until there is a plan for us to support. And like Dale pointed out, there's some ordinance things and just like, when there's something for us to look at, we'll look at it.
I'll bring the statute
Yeah.
for the next meeting, so you see.
What is
We can
it
talk
allowed?
UTVs if you want, but until the statute changes, you can't run UTVs on county roads.
Yeah, so, and again, if that can get shifted, I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of interest, like you say, it keeps coming up. I know some members of the board are interested in it. I know, Greater Freeport has talked about it as a tourism draw. There's a lot of interest, but
Right.
there's only so much we can do.
Well, maybe we can just circle around back to that.
Yeah,
at some
and that's-
point.
yeah, I
If
think
you
it's-
can get the statute.
There's been updated ordinance and resolutions that have been circulating and conversations going on with the sheriff and zoning and Dale and
Through the associations.
through our
I've seen
county,
some
our 3.
UCCI.
Oh, yeah, you've seen them at that level. I'm talking at our level.
Oh, yeah. And you're referring to the state statute.
Right.
Right.
And there were several acts in the last legislative session to change things, but nothing passed.
None of those went through, huh? Okay. Okay, I was just curious.
All right, progress measures. Where, a lot of this is just data collection. I'm
I'll have the
thinking-
first 2 the next meeting.
Sounds great. I would, and I think the last 2, your contacts with Preston City would probably be our first stop. They'd know usage.
I could go meet with, Andrea Schultz Winter too and
Yeah.
see what kind of thing we could put together.
And maybe if Preston City would be interested, maybe we could do a survey, a joint survey, like how do people feel about the transport as it exists? And then, check in again in 2 years or whatever.
We were gonna do something at the fair about community safety.
Okay.
I know,
So I was just gonna say, I don't want to interrupt because I'm not on this committee, and I love that you guys are just moving things and thinking through this. The one thing the last committee did talk about was doing a survey to get the baseline of where the community feels we are, and improving a survey, getting it out there.
Which committee was that?
That was community safety.
That's a subcommittee,
yeah.
It's a
that's my
focus group
subcommittee.
like that.
one of these.
Yeah.
That I like the idea, especially if 4 or 5 of all these subcommittees have similar interests, that might be something to get going for the fair. It's a quick turnaround, but
Then we have to have another meeting to approve the question.
yeah. my hesitation would be people don't love surveys to begin with, and if we give them this big one, will that
Do better.
affect our turnout? Yeah, how do we feel about that?
My feeling is it would be great if we could cover all of these, use this as our template, and cover all of the categories, but not in any great detail. I mean, I agree with you. You know, if you develop a 3-page questionnaire, you're not going to be well received.
Right.
If you can keep it on 1 page and have maybe, you know, enough questions, whatever fits on 1 page, to just say 1 to 5 or something. I don't, just my thought.
Go ahead, George.
I'm not on the committee again,
No,
just kind of
You're
interjecting.
still not on the committee?
I'm not on this group. I'm on a
okay.
different one. I hear the like cumbersomeness of a survey, or my thought is you get it too diluted with too many topics. You're not going to get a focus group. Somebody's going to say, can you take this countywide survey? I don't care, and move on. But if I actually have concerns and interest in community safety or in accessible transportation because a family member can't get to doctor's appointments, or because I can't get to classes, or I'm more apt to give you more valuable information in something
That you're interested in.
I'm interested in or vested in, or have
Sure.
an opinion to give.
You could put that at the FHN table too, about the transportation to hospital.
I mean, you know, maybe it's a student survey and a patient survey and
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because
No, I,
not saying that isn't a good idea to be able to touch on everything, but I'm worried about diluting the information that you are going to get.
So here's where I'm thinking, because you raise a good point, Kurt. We'd have to approve the questions anyway at another meeting. And because of the wanting to target different groups, because of not wanting to distract from any other survey, maybe this would be something we can set up ourselves and then distribute it to the hospital, to the college, maybe through Pretzel City to get people already using transport. If we have 3 to 5 questions, and we can distribute it that way, it gives us a little more time to develop it. And then we might be able to, I love using the fair because that's where everyone will be, but I worry about rushing it.
I think FHN or the clinic they could get their appointment reminder or whatever, and
Yeah.
and they could give them this piece of paper and.
Yeah,
I was gonna suggest maybe, how do you guys plan on doing your public safety?
We and our 911 coordinator was going to come up with some questions, and we were going to brainstorm on what she comes up with and see if we have to finesse it or anything like that, and kind of keep it simple, 3 or 4 questions. Do you feel any improvements in public safety or fire protection, like that type of thing?
Kind of how safe do you feel now with the
Yeah.
ranking system? And then a few questions to follow up and place for comments.
Because I'm asking because what I'm thinking is exactly what you just said. It might be good to have, let's say you limit it to 6 questions, you know, most, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Each committee, subcommittee decides. But maybe the way to do it is through the tables that are already there. Not have some 7 category questionnaire or 7 different questionnaires, but 911 has that one.
Right.
The sheriff's office is gonna have a facility there. Maybe there's a questionnaire we can run through them. FHN may have, I don't know if they do.
They have one too.
But if they're gonna have something, we can we can use that. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. I think we still come up to the issue of time. Do we, this committee
Have time
to
for-
develop it, approve it?
Agreed.
Because we've got what,
Right.
4 weeks?
What are you guys doing?
We're meeting Monday right after, before 911. So we're meeting, it's like, it'll be a 5-10 minute meeting and just, hey, let's look at this, discuss it.
So they're getting it done. Maybe that's Because if we wait until our next full meeting, it's not gonna happen, right?
Well, the fair is
Because,
the third week of July.
right, so 8/8 is our next meeting, so that precludes that. But if we got together just to, if we floated some, brief questionnaire for this and determined where we were gonna put it. Is that FHN? Is it Pretzel? Is it both?
Does that allow time to meet with those shareholders?
That's,
Oh, I can do that.
It's easier for one thing with, when you're looking at shareholders within the county, but when you're looking at other facilities, I don't know that you're gonna, I don't know. I'm just
When's your next county city meeting?
Monday.
Okay. Well, today's Tuesday. Maybe that's something you could, would that be an appropriate place to say, hey, here's some questions from one of our subcommittees?
Are you gonna have a meeting and have it approved
that's,
and get an agenda posted 48 hours advance notice?
Of
The
your
next meeting to
city-
get the
of
questions
your-
approved to get it to me?
Of your city county meeting?
Yeah.
No, are you? You are before?
Yeah, we're having a Monday at,
No, this doesn't have anything to do with
yeah,
the
yeah, so,
So
Oh, I
we
see.
will be able to, because that's why I said shareholders outside of the
Yeah,
county are gonna be
right,
harder to.
and because this is about transport, and we want to get folks from diverse, needs and sources.
Mhm.
I mean, I can talk to the city about it at that city
Yeah,
county
yeah,
meeting, but that's
I-
not gonna touch FHN or
My-
the college
I
or.
can go to FHN and I can go to Pretzel City, but who wants to go, you can do the college.
Right, and again, and all of that, I think, has to come after we actually know what we want to ask.
Well, if we want the places on the fair to display our questions, we should touch base with those entities.
Sure, I think targeting the fair would be too fast. Again, to get it approved, to get everything, I think we could get it done. I mean, theoretically, and correct me if I'm wrong, could we propose something for planning and development? Since they're our owning committee, our overseeing committee, could they approve something we can't because it's not on our agenda? Like sometimes a committee thing goes to
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah, we could set it,
That seems complicated, and I don't know that we want to do that. I'm just trying to see what the options
I don't know that the planning and development committee wants to speak for a committee that they're not a part of.
are. With it, sure.
well, we'll be submitting the planning and development committee our information anyway, and they can do
But when
whatever
are you
they,
gonna get together to get the information to the committee? That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
Okay,
The planning and development committee is next week
Monday.
on Monday. So we're back to Monday. I'm just gonna defer to the chairman. Well, I mean, this sounds complicated. And I agree with you, Adam. This is short time. This is short fuse to do this, to do it properly.
I mean, we should get it done before the budget time in case Dale or whoever wants to submit something for buses or drivers or whatever. I don't know if you want to do that yet.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, mass transit is not a part of our
Highways.
highway, so, yeah, I wouldn't want to venture into that.
No,
That would be a whole nother.
Right.
then you're gonna need insurance and that'll go up probably with that.
I think it's worth pointing out, these are about measuring our progress. The point of getting the survey is to see where people are. And then we can check that against some of the key strategies that we already have down. Like, we already kind of have some plans in place. We have some general goals we want to tackle. So my understanding is that getting citizen feedback would be more about seeing where they are now to see if our strategies are effective a year, 2 years down the road. Does that seem like a fair understanding of it? So I hear your point that it might be useful to use this to kind of target some mid-range goals. But I'm not sure that's the primary purpose of, again, it's under progress measures
it's just a way of making sure we're doing what the strategy suggests.
I'm not sure how the two will come together, but, we're also developing a region-wide safety action plan as part of a SS4A grant that we received. Stephenson County is lead agency for a 6 county-wide safety action plan. And it's a comprehensive plan, and we're at the beginning stages of gathering information. And part of that is bringing in stakeholders that to address safety concerns for transportation systems.
Okay.
So it includes trails, it includes traffic signals, it includes roads, it includes
Very encompassing.
very comprehensive. So
Initial meetings.
we've had one meeting with the steering committee, and we're having a second one in a couple of weeks. So we had a booth at the home show where we presented what the program is and invited people to let us know what their safety concerns are countywide. So we have an interactive map. You can point to the map and say, we have a site distance problem at this intersection. We need a stop sign at this location. We need a stop ahead sign. So there's several areas in the county that have already been entered into this map. So, but it does involve a lot of other systems. So, but I don't know how that will marry together with this.
Well, did you get a lot of public feedback on that at the whole show?
The home show was not. We had maybe 2 people came up.
It was a bad day.
It was a terrible day.
I had high hopes. I thought that was a great way of touching
Yeah.
a lot of the public, and it wasn't for lack of planning on any of the county departments
No,
that were
it's
involved in it. It
bad.
was just the overall
free.
attendance. It's so cold in
Yeah.
that building.
In a roundabout way, checking these progress measures across time might see some side effects from that
Mhm.
safety plan. So yeah, it won't be a direct measure, but it might be certainly worth paying attention to.
But I can see some stuff coming out of this committee that we can present to the safety action plan.
Absolutely.
Right.
That'd be a plus for the grant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
The grant is being applied for,
No, we've awarded, we got
Yeah.
like 400,000.
and Stephenson County's the lead county on it.
Correct.
Have we gotten any information as a board on this?
Oh, yeah.
Where do I have that? Where did I get that?
It would have been sent out with all of the public works packets.
Okay. Do you know what month that would have been sent
Not
out? Do
today.
you know what month that?
I don't
would have
put
been sent
that
out?
in a
I'd
public
have
works
to-
meeting packet.
Yeah, I'd have to try to.
I would, you'd
Yeah.
have to
Would
look
you-
at the agenda.
Would you mind sending it to me with the other things you're gonna send?
I was gonna say, I don't know if I have what'll be on my computer just for
Yeah.
being in the meetings, but.
Because as you guys know, when you don't sit on a committee, you're not as tuned into it.
No.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you're not as familiar and, you don't go through it. So, I peruse those other,
Which is it,
Packets.
Public Works that owns this committee,
No, planning and
planning and
development.
development. Okay, I'll let you wait.
That's why I was
You're fine, you're
suggesting,
not on this committee, keep it.
that's why I'm suggesting.
you're still not on this committee.
I'm just
Okay.
running this meeting
Well,
until you
just
officially
keep me-
appointed
Keep
someone.
us abreast of that, because you're doing good work. I'm kidding.
So here's where I'm thinking. Kurt, if you're gonna reach out to Pretzel City, see if they already have some survey data. I mean,
Oh.
they might have already done part of the job,
Right.
and if we could tweak anything they've done and then distribute it, that might make our job a lot easier. Again, I like the idea of getting it to the fair. I want
I
to
agree. It's-
I want to do this right rather than quick.
I agree.
So I think that'll be the information to get first.
Georgia made a good point. Our complication is there's a difference between what's within the county's purview and what's outside our purview. I agree.
Yeah.
When's the next GFP meeting, with the county and Andrea? Is there one?
So we meet with Andrea, I just met with her last week. There is no board meeting in July. But she's very open to
No,
if I need to GFP board meeting, we already met with her for planning and stuff for this month.
When's
but-
her quarterly update?
That'll be at the board this month.
This, right, because it wasn't on.
But I mean, if you give me a time, I can schedule a meeting with her for you. I
Okay,
mean, Andrea and I talk minimum 5 to 10 times a week, so. But I mean, I'm happy to reach out and say, hey, when you have 10, 15 minutes to, or, have a sit down meeting with a member of this committee, and I'm sure she'll be real receptive to that.
So we can put that aside.
Until
It sounds like we're in more of an exploratory mode right now, which is good. Let's get some facts and information for ourselves. Let's educate ourselves.
Right. I don't want to make any decisions based on guesses. Dale's got some information coming to us. We'll get some from Pretzel City. I'll reach out to the college and see,
Right.
again, what needs are, and things like that. And then we'll
Meet again.
we were at this point we're a little more responsive than I think some of our other committees are used to being, but I think that's the job right now.
And I mean, these aren't expected to be done. I mean, it's over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think the value of the information and better information, even if it's a year from now at next year's fair, is going to be more valuable than
Right.
maybe
Well,
not the best information trying to rush through. Again, I'm
No,
not on the committee, but
No, we want-
I'm just
I want-
throwing in
I
my
want your input.
How many want
I
to
can't
be on the
speak for
committee?
you guys. I want- No, we need you always need a foundation to build on, and we need to build a foundation before we get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so we got some
Hey, Beth,
tasks to do.
come on over,
Yeah.
come on over and get comfortable now.
Anything
she's here
else?
for the next meeting.
Anything else want to be addressed under new business? I feel like we've got a little on our plate. We're not stuffing ourselves, but we've got some things to address.
I think we're good.
I will just add that I'll get you and I'll talk and
Yeah,
for the
we'll smooth it out. Jordan, care to make any comment?
Now I've had a hard time evidently keeping my mouth shut. Because I know a little bit. I know a little bit about everything.
No, that's good.
But yeah, no, and any members of any of the focus groups, if there's something that I can help facilitate, like a meeting between one of our partners that I meet with regularly or anything like that, reach out to me because I do have a lot of information about a lot of things, but not the
You
go-to
don't know-
person.
You don't know everything?
I don't. I will be the first to tell you. I definitely do not.
I'm making a note of that.
But just like, sitting in on these planning meetings with Dale, that grant for the safe communities, the amount of levels of things that they're looking at is just like,
I know
it's phenomenal, and it's interesting, but once that is completed, it's
Yeah.
a ton of information.
So you've been meeting with 5 other towns?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
We wouldn't have any private entity taking this on it'd have to be us.
Yeah.
Or a partnership.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of opportunity to bring groups in, but I think part of the point of establishing these committees is to show that the county has a vested interest in this specific zone.
And some of it could be supportive roles.
And again, half of our stuff is just, yes, we approve, let us know how we can help.
And I could see once we come up with a program, it is to present those to the SS4A grant
Absolutely.
and implement some of the things. That's the whole idea of it is if we flagged up that, we need more bus service,
Give us more money.
put it in there. Well,
But
the first step of the SS4A grant is to get an approved safety action plan. Once you've got an approved safety action plan, then you could submit for implementation grants to implement improvements. So
Excellent.
there's an opportunity to fund whatever this committee comes up with.
Oh, all right.
Great. I like it. We already have a funding source.
There you go.
Yeah.
So really, right now, all we need is, our minutes, our agenda for 8/8, whenever
Yeah.
that gets developed. And then the only other thing is a report to P and D on
Yeah.
his meeting.
Yeah.
The minutes and whatever we
When's-
want to
when's-
report.
Once the report got to be submitted then.
Our next meeting is Monday. You know, if you've got the minutes and a brief report of this, I think, you know, or the next time, whatever, you know, you're doing.
And the update to P and D, if that isn't ready, can be as simple as they held their first meeting on Tuesday, the second.
Right,
Their
right,
next meeting scheduled for August 8th.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, something really brief, just to throw
Again.
something out there.
This is all new. We're figuring out the ropes.
Right, see, but
Yeah.
that's good input, you know, it's not like we
It's
need
not
to
like
put
you're-
something voluminous out.
I mean, I think it's, let's, at this point, for the oversight committees who own these groups, is to know that the groups
Matt,
have started, you know, have got it
Right.
going.
Right.
Have a grasp, have a group leader, maybe that's a report, you know. We met on 7/2, Mr. Modero has been appointed
Right.
focus group leader. The next meeting is scheduled for August 8th.
perfect. Well, if that sounds good.
I mean,
to you.
we'll talk.
Anything else before we clear the space?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Public comment first.
Oh, public comment. Beth?
Motion.
I make a motion
Second.
to adjourn.
All those in favor of getting out of here?
Aye.
All opposed? Good meeting, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Figured